Hello, everyone, and welcome to That Deacon on YouTube. Before I share this month's topic, I'd like to let you know that during the month of August, I take a break. So that means there will be no new content on this channel and on the Flow, but I'll be back in September. This month, I thought it would be good to share the next step involved in the Episcopal Church's Diaconal ordination process. Once again, I have to state that what I share comes from information provided by the Episcopal Diocese of Los Angeles. Even though my diocese follows the guidelines laid out by our national church, there will always be local derivations in your own diocese. Because of this, I'll try and speak in broad terms while hopefully offering valid and useful information. When last we chatted about what is often called the process, the discerner, sensing a call to ordain ministry as a deacon, had been meeting with the rector on a monthly basis and was informed that it was now time to form a discernment committee. What, you may ask, is a discernment committee? Once again, I'll quote from our diocesan website. The next step is establishment of a Congregational Discernment Committee. Committee members, approximately 6 to 8 people, are appointed by the clergyperson in consultation with the discerner and should represent the variety of congregational concerns. The CDC should not feel pressured to answer all questions and should not feel required to decide what particular order or type of ministry is right for the discerner. This has changed a bit since my time, in that people tended to enter into discernment with a general feeling of a call toward either diaconal or the priestly tract. Nowadays, the Discernment Committee and the Commission on Ministry are more concerned with an authentic call. When I served on the Commission on Ministry, I found that people who eventually went on to the priesthood expressed themselves in more vague terms, and then those who went on to be ordained deacons were already involved in some sort of lay diaconal ministry of some kind and had a much clearer identity. But this is not always the case. So I'm glad that this part of the process is now more open-ended and concerned with an organic call to serve in some capacity, be it lay or ordained. If you feel these videos are helpful and informative, by all means consider subscribing. And if you are so inclined, give this video and others that I put up a thumbs up. It helps with YouTube's algorithms, and it will help others find us on this channel. If you would like to be informed when new content is available, you can click on the bell icon and you'll receive an email when new content is out. When I was told we'd move on to form a discernment committee, I was told by my rector that I could choose people with his consultation. I remember that I asked a member of the parish who was a professor at a local private university to lead the group. I asked the spouse of another member of our parish to participate because his wife had recently been ordained priest, so he was quite familiar with the process and the journey. I had another member who was a psychologist, thinking her input would be helpful, especially since I was and am a person in recovery from alcohol abuse. I then asked another member of the parish, a former Mennonite minister, to take part as well. Now, if you remember, when I first began to become involved in various ministries at my church, I was asked to participate in an intercessory prayer group and had been very active in this ministry over the years. The person who singled me out for participation, I thought, would be valuable to serve on the committee as well because she knew my innate spiritual gifts. Well, this person declined, not because she thought I was not serious or did not possess necessary spiritual gifts. She refused to participate because I am gay. Her position at the time was that gay people should not serve as ordained clergy. My sense was that her feelings were honest and without malice, and I could not find fault with her because I could always find someone else to serve on the committee. Gathering committee members was not an issue. Did I throw a tizzy fit and start a ruckus? No. Did I quit the ministry she had created and led? No. I had nothing but respect for her decision and the honest and truthful way she declined my request to serve on my Congregational Discernment Committee. I share this because this, I believe, is how mature spirituality can and should exist. Here's a bit more information about the formation of a Congregational Discernment Committee. The CDC's primary function is to provide a forum for exploring the discerner's call. This exploration includes discussing the general meaning of ministry, looking specifically at differences in calls to lay and ordained ministries, reviewing the discerner's life and spiritual history, and observing the discerner's ongoing life and ministry within the congregation. The Diocesan Commission on Ministry should be consulted regarding training for CDC members. At least one member of the CDC must attend the Diocesan Discernment Informational Gathering with the discerner and the sponsoring priest. However, all other members of the CDC and the discerner's spouse or partner are highly encouraged to attend. This process takes about a year and includes an open sense of vulnerability with frank, truthful conversations. During my participation in these meetings, I was able to continue my visits with my rector and my spiritual director, which proved helpful in keeping me focused and centered. In other words, I was not on my own. I found these meetings extremely helpful, as it afforded me the opportunity to look at my life as a whole and how the trajectory of one's life relates to this sense of calling. Let me share a couple of examples. I remember being asked my first memory of church. After thinking a bit, I said that my first real memory of church was not something spoken or something visual. My first memory was the smell of burning incense. This memory took me back to a very, very early childhood impression of something inexplicably being made holy. While meeting with the committee, you might find instances where past memories you thought inconsequential become much more important. These jarred remembrances are a wonderful byproduct of a discernment committee. I remember sharing a time when I was in the 6th grade eating lunch, sitting at a table across from a boy who lived in the home behind me. As I was scarfing down my cafeteria lunch, my neighbor took out something that looked like a cracker, which had been wrapped in a napkin. When I saw this, I became concerned that Mark, my neighbor, would not have enough to eat. So I offered to share some of my food with him. He thanked me and explained that he was Jewish. And for a week, they had to eat unleavened bread. Rather than grumble about his meager lunch, or trying to make me feel guilty eating my food, he offered to share a bite of his food with me. I was curious about the taste, so I said yes, and accepted a sliver of his unleavened slice of bread. At the time, it was an experience of 2 boys during lunchtime at an elementary school. Now, through the process of my Congregational Discernment Committee, I was able to link the importance of this experience. At one level, it was an experience of hospitality and sharing. Secondly, this was a story about the innocence of 2 boys having an interfaith exchange, a sort of Jewish Passover agape Eucharistic meal in the middle of a crowded and noisy elementary school cafeteria. So these 2 jarring stories taken from my memory is one of the joys I found in the discernment process. Had I not taken this step, I would not have been able to connect this memory to something deeply, deeply important. Here's what the Diocesan document goes on to say. The information that the Congregational Discernment Committee provides is an essential and unique contribution to the larger process, but there is still much discernment work at the diocesan level to understand the discerner's ultimate ministry role. The CDC's recommendation is not considered the final recommendation for the discerner. It is the first important step. Up until the creation of this committee, you participate in private discernment and talks with your rector. The discussions, though broad, are intimate, as they are one-on-one with your pastor or your spiritual director. When you open yourself up to a committee, the range of voices and opinions change drastically. This is an important step, as forming a Congregational Discernment Committee becomes a public declaration, even though all things said in these meetings are confidential. But more and more people become aware of your discernment process. One thing I feel important when I went through this process is still valid today, and that is, if you are certain of your calling toward the diaconate, you may have to teach members of your discernment committee about the diaconate. In fact, you may have to teach your rector. It all depends on their training, formation, and mindset. Over the years, I've seen some improvement in the understanding and function of the diaconate, but we are a large church, and I can't say that the support and acknowledgement I found here in the Diocese of Los Angeles would be matched by dioceses across our country. When I began my discernment journey toward ordination, the one thing I had decided is that at any point I could be told no, and this would be fine, and I would continue my participation in ministry. And the other thing was to listen to what the church was to tell me and tell me what to do. And I would just say yes and do it. This proved helpful, and I now pass this advice on to you. If things move forward, the next thing which may happen is a meeting with the bishop. And that's where this part of the ordination journey for now will end. Thanks so much for watching. And if you have questions or comments, by all means, leave them in the comments section below. And I'll see you next time, but in September. God bless. Stay well, be well, do good, and bye for now.